Oh, what is up, Static Gamers? It is Kojima Day I here. I I'm not really sure how I wanted to go about this. I just knew like the concept of what I wanted to do this video. If you're seeing this video, it was recorded on the 16th, which my math is leaving my head today. I think 4 days from the 20th, right? Yeah. Um, I figured now would be a good time than any to talk about it before the day comes where it would really bother me. If you haven't seen by the title of the video, uh, it's a little bit about suicide and myself. The 20th was the day I found out my uncle died. Uh, he had killed himself. And I'm still bothered by it to this day. You could say it's like a scar that you can't see. I wanted to revisit it one last time here on YouTube because I I feel like at times that I personally don't show enough emotion to you guys sometimes. I know I can be cringy, stupid, but there's times I can actually be very mature and stuff like that. Um, I wanted to do this video now because I don't think I'd be able to on the 20th. This hat was given to me by him on one of my birthdays. When I found out last year on July 20th when he was dead, I apparently found out before anybody else found. I found out before my mother, um, and the people. I didn't find out before the people who found him, of course. If I remember correctly, it was his neighbor that found out. They busted his door open because apparently it happened like a week before because he stopped answering a long time ago. Uh, before then he was going to Sonic every day. That's where I worked. I don't have my Sonic hat, but he used to come to Sonic all the time getting a chicken dinner. He would always seem happy. I had no idea he was going through like what I feel right now. You know, I've been there. You know, the point where you just want to. I've been there. I've been there a couple times. Uh, to be honest, I was there before I even started doing YouTube. Maybe even during YouTube, there's been times where I have broken down and stopped uploading because of depression. I didn't understand the story. People were like, that he did this, uh, or this. I even heard rumors about rape. I don't know whether it's true or not. But the thing that bothers me is that nobody told me that what was going on. I mean, he was my uncle. I'm a little bit upset with my family because of that. That, and I'm also upset with Danny. He's the one that committed suicide. When I found out I was at work. I could have stopped working. I could have went home. I could have told my mom, but at the moment I was like, you could say I was in a moment of denial because I was like, no way, but not really. I didn't break down in tears. That didn't happen until the day of the funeral, but I kept myself strong because, you know, I started thinking, well, my mom's gonna come up here crying when she finds out, and the last thing I need at that time was to leave early because money was important, you know. And the sad thing was, I was actually going to go visit him. Like almost went to go visit him before I went to work, and I would have been the one that found out if I had chose to go. I would have fallen dead. I wanted to go about 10 in the morning to actually go, check on him because I for the last couple of days there was weird vibes coming from him, and he was always like, come visit, and so I was going to, but part of me is glad that I didn't choose to that day because I would have officially saw a dead person for the first time, but It's just it, it, this is how I felt when I found out. Just I was speechless. I didn't really know how to react, so I just reacted the way I would. I'm the way I would is if I were to die or if my mother would have died. How I was just looking at it as part of life because I believe personally me. I do believe there's more to life than we see. Human's existence is a small fragment, but it allowed me to stay calm. My beliefs. It allowed me to go, okay, well, I shouldn't have to worry about it. It was his choice, but it still bothered me because like suicide's the saddest way to go because you're dying. Usually, when you're suicide, you're hopeless. That's how you feel. It bothers me that that's how he died. Was feeling just hopeless. I've, you know, I've I've been there. I would have understood. I've got a couple friends who are like that too. I think part of the reason why I also didn't cry till the day of the funeral is not only because I was trying to be strong, but because I didn't have many tears left. It's, to be honest, even I at that time was kind of thinking about it. Last year, July 20th, was the time that I'd say I was having quite a bit of suicidal thoughts, and you could say it opened my eyes a little bit. I'm not innocent. I'm a dark entity too. For a lot of my life, I grew up believing, hey, I'm worthless, I'm a piece of shit, and I know exactly how Danny felt because I had the same mindset. And the difference between me and him is I chose to live. He didn't. You know, when I when I was really young, my real dad died when I was like 3 or 4 months old. I don't remember the age. When I found out the fact that this whole time I thought my stepdad was my real dad, and it turns out I was a bastard, bothered me on top of that. Well, I found out the day he also cheated on my mother. His name was Chris. I'm not going to go any further into detail because I don't want you guys harassing him or anything. I believe he's changed from what I've heard of him, but he took two things I had dear and precious to me, and it was two stepsisters, names Tracy and Taylor. For the longest time in school, I had to deal with bullies too. Apparently, people hated me because I'm a weird hyper guy. That's just me. I get silly. You guys should know that from YouTube. I do random noises like squee. That's just that's just me. That's just how I am. That's part of being an HD. Throughout school, teachers said, "Oh, you have this problem. You have ADHD. Oh, you're special. Oh, you can be anything you want to be." But that's absolutely not true. If you want to be something, you have to earn it. First of all, I learned that late. When I was younger, I wanted to be a fireman. Found out because I have asthma, the chances of that were slim to none. There were things I could maybe do at the fire station, but I couldn't do the thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to be the person who ran into fire saving people. That's what I was as a kid. I remember a couple times for Halloween I went as a fireman. It was almost like a dream job. Well, can't do that just because I was born in a medical condition that prevented me from doing it. I would literally die if I tried doing it. Not to say that maybe now, after years of working my asthma, I couldn't, but I had to deal with that. That's kind of a minuscule thing, but when you find out when you're like 6, it's like heart stopping, and that was before that. So, but yeah, eventually, like I said, my dad ended up cheating. Stepdad cheated on my mother, and took my two stepsisters away because they moved out with him. And when I was at school, because I was a weird one, they made fun of me for it. I I took a lot of it personally, to be honest. Some of it I knew they were joking. Like even at first, one of my best friends, Brandon, we kind of fought, a lot. Like, but I was determined to have a friend, so in the end, I kept that being a friend with him. I kept going over to his house. There was times there was someone like John. I'm not gonna say his last name again. He would put me in a choke like this and fucking hold my neck up and shit. And I couldn't fight because this guy, he's older than me and he's bigger. He's a genuine, I would say genuine bully at that time. And he too changed. Um, After a while, like I said, I kept at it. I ended up earning respect with some of the people at school. And I guess my reputation preceded me more than I thought it had because there were people at school when I was in high school after, all these people who hated me stopped hating me and they started, changing who they were. It added on to the fact that I was depressed all the time. You could say an insecurity. Um, on my graduation day, John actually came up to me and he apologized, and that honestly meant the world to me. Since then, we've been buddies. I have him on Facebook. I mean, we've kind of always been friends, but it was really nice for him to come up and apologize for all those years. I know some people would still hold a grudge, but I'm not one of those people. It was enough for me. It was just also because I understood, that I can be an asshole or I can be really annoying. I understand that. It's just me. My Uncle Danny was still alive. He made it to my graduation. He made a promise to my dad before I, even knew him. Like when I was first born, he promised my dad that he would, watch over me. Maybe he was waiting till I graduated. I don't know. But if he was going through problems, I would have talked to him. I would have understood everything because I know what it's like to be worthless, to feel worthless. I think my mom's listening. That's okay. She is. It's it's a sad thing. And so, uh, throughout school, I formulated a clan. That's why it means the world to me. Why I'm so sentimental about it. For those of you who are in it and know me in it or have been in it, why I'm so intimate about it is because you guys were the thing that kept me sane. I never told anyone on Xbox, my online friends, that hey, I'm going through this, that I'm emotionally distressed. I just kept a smile on my face, assertiveness, even anger. Just did what any leader would have done for his group, his gaming group. That's the way we looked at it. It was, if you don't know what clans are, it's like miniature armies in games. Like the definition of a clan is gamers coming together to complete a common goal. It's that's the core definition of it, and that's basically what we were. For us, if we took it between the lore of the game Halo, and we were like Sanghili clan, so we adopted Sanghili culture into the clan, and that's kind of how they ran. And I played the role of a shipmaster, basically, among the group, keeping us together. We just had fun, laugh at each other, things like that. And then at times we would go whoop ass other groups that did the same thing. It was like a competitive thing. It's like a lesser form of MLG or esports, except you do things like raids and things like that. It was really fun and really enjoyable. I made some very bonding moments. I met some very good friends, people, gamer tags that I'll never forget. Most of them are really gone. One of them that I've never forgot, or some of the earliest members, is Slayer09. He'll never be back. Then there's the two girls that I remember from the Halo Reach era, Stoic Venus and Two Angry Camel. There's one friend that was around since the Halo Reach time, which is like year 2000, Dovikin. He's still here. I don't know if he watches the channel. There's another name I won't forget, Son of a Son, TMS, Gunslinger, Vic. And there's a lot of them from the past, some of them that I haven't seen in a while, like Halo Fan 100 or Arbiter 11101. It's just been far too long. I kind of feel the same when they're gone, the same that I did when I lost my sister. So I kind of had a sentimental, but at the same time I also understood because some people are going to get their lives and they're going to move on. But graduation eventually came, and I was I was kind of happier then at the time. I finally had a girlfriend for a short while, you know, and she went out with a bang. I put the nail into the wood a lot further and solidified the breakup when I burst out in anger. But of course, I didn't know what else to do. At the end, I felt like she left me, so the heart broke, but I got over it quickly. But it still put a nail into me. And then later that year, after graduation, my uncle, well, he died. I found out through a police scanner. That's how I found out before just about everyone else. I found out when the police found out. My coworker Greg told me, and so I was dazed, and I I was remorsed. I didn't weep though. The day of the funeral came, and I felt like utter shit because of all of it. It came down on me. It was hard for me to sleep every day as it was. I was always staying up every night, depressed, upset that I'm always alone, things like that. Always feeling like I am, even if I had friends. And then this happened, and so we're at the funeral. The whole day I was playing a song, "My Life Be Like." It's a song from a Need for Speed movie, but because it was a Christian rap, it was something I was listening to. It it kept me looking forwards. It wasn't the only song I'd listen to, but at the time I was listening to it a lot because it talked about keep moving forwards, And I was angry at Danny because it bothered me. I was angry, but I was sad. I had like mixed emotions. But at the funeral, they started talking about it. They were playing his favorite songs on the thing, and you know, everyone was really quiet. No one was really crying. Yeah, a couple people were. Um, the time came where if there's any words you like, speak, speak now. And I mentioned how he fulfilled his promise with my dad, and then Greg tried to say a few things, but he just couldn't pump out the words. He ended up kind of backing off, saying "fuck," and then kind of was like crying a little bit. He just couldn't. And then Lisa, and then some of the others were like Greg, because it was heartbreaking, and they were getting upset, and no one really had anything else to say because we couldn't really pump a word out because there was controversy around his death. I was hearing good things, I was hearing bad things, but I didn't want to let him leave on a bad note. My stepdad currently, Todd, told me to believe him remember him as I wanted to remember him, not because of what people told me. And I knew what Danny was. I do know what he was. He was there when I was a kid. He babysitted me. He did everything. There's no way Danny could have been anything evil. There just wasn't. He drank, and that could have been a cause, but nobody knew the true story. There was no proof. There was no divine evidence that I could see. My neighbors apparently seemed to know more than I did. It was sad. That's why I'm upset that my family wasn't telling me what the hell was going on. I was a little bit pissed off about that too, but at the same time, the family that did care about me was the one that was most informative. There was other parts of the family, people who knew Chris. Chris didn't even show up, and they were supposed to be best friends. That upset me more than anything. Well, my grandma was crying, and I'm sitting here crying finally because I couldn't finish speaking either. I started crying in the middle of my sentence. I finally burst into tears, and finally everyone was lining up. Linda was the one that was probably hurt the most, and she's sitting there crying. I'm holding her hand like this up to my face, and she's just sitting there crying, and I'm like, Linda, The first time I never really called her grandma, but I was like, Linda, don't worry too much about Danny, okay? God's gonna take care of him wherever he's supposed to go. And I didn't know what else to say because she's crying and crying and crying. She's a little bit religious. I don't think she was like super church religious, but pretty sure she believed in God. And I think that meant a lot to her. I believe in God too, but I'm like her. I'm not super religious into it, and so it shed some light onto the scene, but it was still pretty grim. She's just sitting there crying, and then she told me, "I don't want to lose another grandson," or because I guess that's. And so she's like, "Don't leave me anytime soon." And then we hugged, and I said I wouldn't. I made a promise that day that I wouldn't leave her, by that. I made a promise not to go out by suicide. That's when I left all my suicide intentions behind. It woke me up. Because I even made a post on Facebook with the guy who was like this and his brain's being blown out. I made posts like that a while back. When I was on Google Plus, I'd make posts all the time saying, "Kill me, I hate my life," things like that. I drew depressing things. Even some of my fan fictions that I used to do, or one was about a kid who grew up happy, because that's what I did, and then his life was turned flipped upside down, and he was all depressed, and then he became an embodiment of darkness while trying to breathe for light. And to this day, I have a quote that I recently made up that I think defines how I think. I am darkness that breathes for light. I don't want to stay the way I am. I want to change. Whether it's for the better or for the good, I don't know. Or even for worse. YouTube tied into this a little bit because your guys' subscribing, likes, kind of shed some light, but it wasn't really just that made me happy, or the fact that before I was monetized. It was the fact that people were coming on saying, "Man, I love you. You're a great YouTuber. You should have more subs." It was just those things that they hit my heart. I feel bad because I don't do things like, "Oh, we reached 700 subscribers, guys. Woo!" No, it's hard for me to be happy, even with things like that. Small things. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I've reached 700 subscribers. It's the most subscribers I've ever had on YouTube. Even with my other channel, which was the Machinima channel, I only got to 300 on that. 3 and 1, I worked on the shortest amount of time, despite creating it back in like 2015, 2016. It wasn't until about early 2017 I started pumping videos on it. At that time, I had Gunslinger. He disappeared, so I was worried he was never going to come back. He's like a brother to me. And he eventually came back. Then there was Demon, too, and then I guess recently we haven't been talking much, but he's still a brother to me. And he wants to come back to 3 and 1, and Gun wants to still upload his 3 and 1. Our goal was to be a 3-man YouTube channel, but it kind of became just me, and it kind of became my primary after a while. Gun still uploads here and there, and Damon, I don't know necessarily. We recently talked about him coming back, and I told him, "Yeah, if you want to upload videos, send me the videos. I'll edit them and post them." But that hasn't happened. Just to say, I've got a scar, and suicide's not funny. I mean, I can joke about it still. I can still make fun of it. I know some people get really offended when you make jokes about something that's very serious, but for someone that's been nearly there and has experienced it, it's a human response to shed light on something dark. I need to say though, it's like you just never know who's in a dark place. Some are very verbal, and we look at them like, "Dude, you need to just get off your ass and blah blah blah." A lot of people say that, but that doesn't help someone depressed. Sometimes being a friend doesn't either. Sometimes even understanding doesn't. From my perspective, there was nothing anybody could tell me to stop me from thinking what I thought. What turned me around is the fact that I decided to turn around. I decided, you know what? I'm not going to be this. This is pathetic of me. But I said that to myself, you know. And there's like many other things that I don't believe in because I believe it's all personal choice. You have something because you let yourself have it, especially when it comes to psychological stuff. You know, for example, let's say disorders. I don't really believe in them. There are some, yes. Maybe you're born with a deficiency in a brain that prevents you from thinking. That's legal retardation, and that's essentially you need things like helpers and things like that to provide your life because you physically cannot live without assistance. I understand that, but things like eating disorders, just stop eating. Really, like not completely, but it's as simple as that. It really is. Want to lose weight? Start exercising. As simple as that. It literally is up to whether you believe you can do something or you can't. And for me, I was living this life of hella too. I could probably be considered legally poor. Not as much as I was then, but maybe we had more money back then than we do now. Things just got too expensive. But the thing is, uh, you can set your mind to anything if you tell yourself you can do it. Too many people, they sit there and think, I can't do it, I can't do it. They're so negative, and it's hard to pull yourself out of that negativity because I was there. I know what it's like. Danny probably felt like that. Like, just no matter what you did, everything was against you. But in reality, what would turn it around would be you turning yourself around. And sometimes only you yourself can save yourself. Suicide can be a scary thing because you just seriously don't know who it'll affect. It could be anyone, anything. It could be a sad subject. I'm actually surprised I haven't teared yet, but I mean, I think it's just because I came to terms with it that I really just don't. I don't feel sad. I've come to terms with it a little bit. And this here is just my final nail to coming to terms for it. So I wanted to say something out there. There's so many people around us going, and honestly, they don't realize how much it affects everyone around them. I mean, look how it affected me. There's one of my friends right now who who's thinking the same thing. I'm worried he's going to do that. I think it's going to affect me even more. It really affects people around you. I guess Danny didn't think I really cared or something, but I did. And look what it has done to me. I act retarded and stupid and hyper because it's my way of trying to keep things smiling. You know, I don't want to be gloomy and grumpy all the time. I've had my moments of emotional distress, as if anyone other people, but every once in a while, you have to vent out every once in a while. Talk about it and just have someone listen. YouTube's really great for that, to be honest. These guys have been a big help for me for that matter. Whether you're from my other channel, Halo Stories, or this channel, 3-1 Sata Gaming, you guys have no idea how much you guys helped me push through what ultimately could have been worse for me. I got a lot of people out there that I care a lot about. They're still here. And one of them is even in California going to college right now, and I'm very proud of him. I just hope when he comes back, me and him can be on an equal playing field like we've always been. I hope he doesn't leave me in the dust like everyone else usually does. I think one of my fears is to be alone. Not alone as in the sense of where I'm in this room alone by myself, I start freaking out. No, alone in the sense of there's no one there. Like, I cannot go to. Like, that's a fear I have, and there's not many people. There's two off the bat right now I know I could go to. Gunslinger and TMS. They're online. On this in here in physical form, my mother used to be branded for using Kala, so I don't I don't you know I don't really have many people I can talk to. I really don't. I was told to go to a therapist. I did once. I just don't trust them. Even after when my dad had to go to one legally, and they said it's really just for the money. That right there is when I stopped going. I understand that there are therapists out there who really do want to help, but after that, that makes you not want to go to a therapist. Even if it wasn't told to me, my dad still said it happened to him, and so it just shows how backwards the world can be and how much people push through hell and back these days. There was a time where nobody had to deal with all of this, things like this. There was a time where it was peace and freedom, even if it was short lived. I wouldn't even say freedom, but because nothing's free. Just back then, there was a charm to it that before they were telling everybody you're special. Before I was like 3, I got to live it for a little bit. But I don't think I have much more to say. It's just gonna keep repeating. So, well, now you know, guys, why on the 20th I may be a little quiet, or recently, why I've been quiet, why I've maybe been acting a little more weirder on YouTube than I ever have been, and maybe why I've been distant from a lot of people. I think suicide prevention, though, is a really good thing. It's nice to see that people are trying to help families and people who, you know, want to do it, but there's only so much that can be done. I just wanted my subscribers to know that I'm not living the fanciest of life. I'm human just as anyone else, and that I have my stab wounds just like anyone else. YouTubers and us are just the same. The only difference is I talk to a computer, you guys comment in a comment box. But it's still something special to me that you guys can come here together and make something amazing out of this channel. That's what I'm hoping you guys do. I'm not expecting it, but if that happens, I'd be really happy. I haven't really been truly happy in a while, and that's honest. I'm finally starting to tell everyone that I'm not really happy, that I'm not satisfied where I am. I mean, just I've got a long way to go myself. I'm rising dust from dust, rising from ashes to ashes, and I'm gonna rise somewhere else. I'm not gonna be somebody who just runs himself into the dirt. I'm gonna work, towards stuff, something, everything, whatever works for me. I'm recently wanting to get a new job and work something that's more higher pay so I can start getting some investment It's funds thinking about getting a car, phone, all these things that I just don't have that I should have had a long time ago. And then if I don't get this goal going by age 24, I'm going to have to cut my mom off supporting her. Otherwise, I'm going to be this my whole life, just worthless. And that's definitely something I don't want to be. At the same time, I also kind of hope that you guys would help this channel grow because honestly, if they ever got to a point where I could really make money from YouTube, it would pull me out of this at the same time. But that's not my goal with YouTube. I could care less whether I'm able to monetize again or not. I'm going to if I get the chance to, but it's just going to be extra money. That's all it is. I'm not going to make it a priority. Never has been. My worries have been, hey, what kind of videos do you guys want to see next? Do you want me to continue doing Subnautica? Do you like that? That's all I'm worried about. Whether you guys will enjoy the content or not. Sometimes I get depressed when you guys don't. Sometimes I enjoy it when you guys do. Sometimes I get mixed response. Who knows? But that's just part of YouTube. I don't understand the algorithm very well. I don't know how to get Let's Play videos up to the top or how to title them right or make perfect thumbnails for them. It's a weird journey for me, I'd say, for the most part. I just do it because I enjoy it. It's fun. And there's people actually out there who would watch me, and that's just kind of something special to me, even if it's a small group. Well, I'm just gonna keep on rambling. I keep saying that and keep going. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, guys. So I would say if you enjoyed this, but this is a dark subject, not not really a thing to say do you enjoy, but um, if you happen to be new to the channel and watching this for some reason, feel free to subscribe. I do gaming videos recently, mostly on the Halo genre, but I want to touch things like horror games, first-person shooters, uh, open worlds, just whatever's on the table. I really like games that follow Halo's sci-fi stuff and science. That's why like I'm into Subnautica, for example. There's a popular title. I enjoy horror games again. So a few RTS such as Halo Wars and Civilizations. I really enjoy Civilizations Revolutions on the Xbox 360. There's just a bunch of different things that I do on this channel. It's just kind of a weird genre mix that I do here. So if it interests you, feel free to subscribe. Um, if you guys want, you can tell me about your guys' pain and troubles in the comment section. I don't know if I'll be able to reply to them with like solid celerity because I don't have answers to every problem. But if you need someone to talk to, we're more than welcome to let me know you want to talk to me. I'm not gonna leave people hanging, you know, especially if they're a subscriber. You mean a lot to me, so I would like to return that favor. And there's a bunch of different things. I know a lot of people who throw a lot of shit, and some of them don't even talk about it. So if you want to talk about it, I'm here. I mean, I talk to you guys about me, so I mean, you can do the same with me. But if you don't trust me, I understand. Or if it's really private, some people have very embarrassing private problems, So I'm not going to go into that. It gets really awkward with some of them. I've found out a few of them with my friends. It's a little weird. So yeah, I don't like going into that type of, that can stay over in private area, and you can deal with that with, family. But things like this, that's more public and open, yeah, I could probably help with. So I guess that's it for now, guys. So I guess I'll see you in the next video. This is Koji Mente II signing out.